This is a message for healers. You might be a healer if the first part of your life was really, not to complain, but kind of hard. And that even as you found what you like and you found what you're good at and you found what you want to do, you keep on having these setbacks and you keep on having stuff that you need to work on in yourself that requires healing in order for you to move forward. And this is actually a really beautiful thing, because being a healer, you have to have the integrity of your own healing far beyond where anyone else is going to come with you on their own healing journey as you're supporting them. Because you may have heard this saying, you have to go there to know there. And what that really means is, anywhere that you are going to lead somebody else, you need to have already gone there and been far enough along the path that you already know what they might encounter along the way and have been so many steps ahead of where they're going that you already can anticipate how they might react and what challenges they're going to come along, and be able to really guide them through it, and perhaps even give them an accelerated, more efficient version of that experience than what you had. And being a healer is such a beautiful path, because as a healer, you're automatically connected to so much more than just yourself. Because healing really is an inside job. And what I mean by that is that, there's this perception that I hear brought up often around the various healing professions, is that, I need to find a healer or a doctor or somebody to fix me or to heal me. But that's not how it works. We all are our own healer. Think of Wolverine. Wolverine is a beautiful example of healing as a function of the body, and that whenever Wolverine in the X-Men gets injured, his body automatically, rapidly, almost instantaneously heals itself. And that's really more like how healing occurs for each of us, but we don't understand it and we don't know how to be responsible for it. So then we externalize our healing onto other people, and we see the challenges that we face with our health and our well-being and our spirituality and navigating our path and living our purpose. We see these challenges that we run into along this journey as problems. But that's not it at all. These aren't problems. These are necessary rites of passage along the path of being a healer. So, what are some examples of how this might show up? Well, in my life, I started to get a sense that the career that I was in, leaving university, as amazing as it was, and as far beyond anything that I possibly could have expected, or what any of the mentors and experts that I had asked about this field that I went into when I lived in China, the experience that I had was so far above and beyond what anyone said that I could experience in 6 to 10 years, and it happened for me right out of college, and just grew beyond exponentially from there. But nonetheless, regardless of that opportunity and how extraordinary it was, and I had people telling me things like, oh, you can just write your own check for your future. This is a golden ticket. And it really was. depending on what you're wanting to accomplish in life. But through that experience, I discovered that just building a career that would reward me financially and with respect and prestige, and doing really cool things and having just absolutely extraordinary experiences, that didn't satisfy me. That didn't that didn't touch that deeper purpose, and I felt empty and lost and often frustrated and confused. And then as I started to explore other things, and now I can look back and see, oh, all these things that I explored have led me to what I'm doing now, and led me to being an intuitive healer. And that path that I took, as soon as I started to recognize that it wasn't really satisfying me, like I said, around that same time, I started having problems in my body. I started having pains in my back. I thought it was just from sitting at a desk too long, but and so I made radical changes in my life, again and again and again, and no matter what I did, it just trying to fix the problem and get other people to take care of me, that didn't solve it. And even me just trying to then say, okay, well, I'll just accept that I have these problems. I developed chronic health conditions like fibromyalgia, and it got so bad that I wasn't able to work normal jobs without taking absurd amounts of over-the-counter medicine. Fortunately, I live in a state where cannabis is legal, so I was able to utilize cannabis and CBD on a daily basis. That kept me going, but those are all just band-aids on symptoms. And what really unlocked this journey for me was, one, accepting the fact that I am a healer, and that is part of who I am, and that helps to define what my purpose is and what I have to give and how I'm here to serve humanity and my tribe and the people that are naturally showing up and being interested in me and what it is that I have to do and the skills that I have. So the next thing that really showed up, in addition to like accepting that I am a healer and really like owning that, and was I had to deal with some imposter syndrome, because I look at healers and I had this healing up on a pedestal as if it's like, oh, you need to be a doctor or a shaman or a naturopath or some like it's this revered position, and it is. Don't get me wrong, it's there's a lot of respect due to healers of all kinds, but you don't have to be anything other than yourself, knowing that you have that energy of a healer, and that healing has come up as a predominant factor on your path. And if you don't own it and you get caught up in imposter syndrome, then that has its own you're just going to be kind of in limbo there, and life is going to bring you other challenges to keep pointing you towards that healing work in yourself, and also be bringing people on your path that are seeking you out for healing as well. And all of that draws you in to further build your skill set and your toolbox, and also to sharpen your interest for healing and helping others. So the next thing that really opens the door for stepping into being a healer is getting interested in what's your deeper sense of purpose. Because being a healer is inherently, it's how do I say this? It's not just a profession, okay? And I don't mean to like make a big deal out of it, but it's not it's more than a profession. It's and I'm going to say it's a calling, but like that gets so loaded by so like when I say a calling, it might mean different to you as you listen to this. But what I mean by that is that it's what we've already been talking about, that life is pulling you and drawing you into this path with the circumstances that are manifesting in your life, and you're literally being called by life. And so it's not just a profession. It is an entire way of being. That's it. It's a way of being, because the way healing actually works is that as a healer, you start by healing yourself. And always what you're doing is healing yourself. But the more you heal yourself, the more you deal with your own setbacks and challenges and blocks. And these can be physical, they can be mental, emotional, spiritual. It can be family, it can be ancestral. There are so many aspects of healing. It can be environmental as well. Healing isn't just about the human body, or about like animals or whatever. Healing is also environmental. It's systemic. There are those healers that are healing systems, that are regenerating systems in human societies, environmental systems, and educational systems. These are all types of healing, but the way that you grow as a healer, and if you find yourself feeling like you are a healer, or you think you might be, and you find yourself stuck or frustrated that things aren't moving forward in your career, or that your life just seems to be sort of in this looping repeat pattern, and that you're putting a lot of work in, but it doesn't seem to be changing, and similar circumstances keep showing up over and over again, and you're like, why is this happening? Well, you might look at really getting honest with yourself and telling the truth about what's going on with you, and that the challenges that you're having are to really focus on them, and to really seek out the help you need, and to allocate the necessary energy and time to allow yourself to really notice progress in your own healing. Because if you're getting stopped in life and you have this disposition of a healer, the way that you're going to move forward is by working on yourself and stepping into your healing. And healing, once again, it can take many forms, and especially as healers, one of the aspects that's so important is, why am I here? What is my life for? Because when we're not in touch with that, there's an aspect of being disconnected from life, and the energy that causes your life and causes you to be, and that ultimately that energy, that life energy, that is what causes healing. Now, you could say, look at medical procedures like surgeries or something and say, well, didn't the surgery cause the healing when, so-and-so broke their arm? Absolutely, the surgery created the conditions for healing to take place, and that without that surgery, there would be a big, it would just be a mess in that arm. But but the surgery, it creates the conditions where then the body can and the energy can enter the body and cause that healing to happen. And so as healers, we really need to get connected to our inner space, our energy, because the inner space that we hold, that creates the space that we're able to hold for others. And if you're able to hold a space that is big enough for you to heal and become so vibrant and thriving in your own life, that is going to be what makes the difference of you being able to hold space for other people to heal. Because the degree to which you can be present with your own energy is directly proportional to the degree that you can be present with another person's energy or an entire group of people's energy. And how that happens is that you have whatever challenges that you're facing and whatever difficulties are showing up in your life and your path. And as you overcome those challenges, as you overcome the difficulties of your life, that is how you then hold space for other people, because you know what they're going through, you know what their challenges are. So, and then there's, your intuition and life will guide you to what kind of training that you need to get, and then you can look to the, laws of your state or country for what kind of certifications you need to get so that you have integrity with the systems that you're a part of. You can check in with yourself and your own intuition of, how are you going to approach this? What kind of platform do you want to be in? Do you want to be working with other people? Do you want to work just with yourself? Do you want to work in an organization? Do you want to work independently? I mean, these are all very practical questions that, that can be sorted through. So I think what I really want to emphasize here in this message for healers is that if this is something that you're resonating with and you feel like you have this energy, or you've known and been on the path for a long time, but you want to move forward and expand and grow, even when you've been through a lot, there's always more. And looking inward is where you find the keys, where you find what needs attention for you to grow and expand. And, and another way that you can look at that is, what kind of practices are you interested in? Is it breath work, meditation, herbalism, or something else? What interests, what are the problems that you're seeing in the world that you're interested in? And how is that related to what you already know? How is that related to what you're already doing? How is that related to what you want to do? So one example could be, I'm just so sad and angry, and I have so many emotions about what's happened to the forests on planet Earth, and it breaks my heart to see more forests continuing to be cut down, and land being bought up, and every time I go by another area that's been clear cut, it hurts. And but what that's pointing to for me is that yes, I'm a healer for humans, but I also learn so much from my relationship to nature, and I've learned so much about observing trees and their relationship with mycelium, and that has taught me so much about intuition and consciousness, and how there's this language without words that mushroom, mycelium, and trees and soil, they're all speaking together with electricity and chemical signals and things that we can't understand. It's like the internet of the earth. And that human beings, that when those things start to break down in forests, the forests start to get diseased and die, and and are just the biodiversity breaks down. There's so much there, and so seeing the degradation of the forests and the clear cuts and all of that, it pointed me towards, this is something that's important to me, that I care about, and to learn about that and to follow my interest. And I've done that, and that has brought me into new understandings of consciousness and intuition and how connected all of us are, and how healing happens for us, not just as individuals, but as a collective. And that then led me to be interested in ancestral healing and epigenetics, and how when we heal energies and patterns within ourself, that has a ripple effect to our living family members. And also, if you have a relationship with your ancestors, it also shifts and affects those relationships as well. And that often those working with and healing those ancestral wounds is the key for you having healing breakthroughs yourself, and then having breakthroughs in your practice or your career, or your sense of purpose and mission in what you're doing here on planet Earth. So, really get interested in what are the different aspects of life experience that you've had around healing. What are the challenges that have been predominant for you, and what are the challenges out in the world that just really pull at your heart? And this will really start to point you towards what direction to go next, and how to grow and how to develop. And if that's something that you want to explore more and just have a conversation about, please head over to my website, spencertribwell.com. I'm putting a link in the info section of this video, and there's a lot of information on there about navigating these sorts of transitions, and how our intuition is our greatest friend and ally in finding the way forward, and doing it from the heart, and doing it with purpose. And so really, thank you for watching this video. If you're resonating with this message, please like, subscribe, and share. Help us spread the word to other people who are dealing with or interested in these topics. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.